Evening. I should wait till some people have arrived, but then I'll wish them good evening probably. Right, the doors are open, the gates are open. Hello, first few people to come in. Welcome to the our first ever Meet the FCB online session. My name's Graham Stacey, but don't worry, you are not going to see me tonight. It will be Ivor Heller and Joe Palmer who are your hosts for the evening. If this is your first time with us, we've held some Meet the DTB sessions with a similar format in the past. As I say, this is the first time we've had a Meet the FCB. There is a good reason for that. It's because the Meet the DTB sessions are monthly, but as you may have heard, there's a Don's Trust election currently underway, and voting's open. So we didn't feel it would be appropriate to have anyone standing for election have an hour of vote for me time. So we've changed it up a little bit, and this has come about as a suggestion actually from a previous Don's Trust election session, where people have asked if they could hear a bit more from the football club, and Joe and Ivor in particular. So we've listened, we've set it up, and here we are. I can see people are flooding in. We've got about 70 or so attendees, so we're going to wait a couple of minutes because I think we got record numbers actually for this. As much as it pains me to admit, as a member of the DTB, the FCB have beaten us, I think, and yeah, we had I think we got 100 within the first couple of days, and then it's just kept going. So we've also had a lot of questions come in, which is great stuff. So I think I'll just go through a few house rules now, because a few more people are in. As I've mentioned, this is our first Meet the FCB session. It's hosted by Ivor and Joe, who you should hopefully be able to see on your screen. We've had questions sent over in advance, and we're going to do our best to answer as many as possible over the course of around an hour, I think. We'll see how we go. There is an opportunity for people to ask questions as we go, follow-up questions, live questions. If you look at the bottom of your screen, you should find a Q&A box. There's also a chat box. Now, if you could chat amongst yourselves and with us and everything in the chat box, but not in the Q&A, that is just for asking questions, please. Otherwise, it does get hard to keep on top of. So the Q&A box at the bottom, if you see the icon, click on that. You'll be able to type in your question. Tell us who it's for. Please do give us your name. That's always nice. And oh, there's the first one from Andy Ramsden. Thank you. That's Andy. See how Andy does it? That's how you do it. Feel free over the course of the hour to send your questions in there. As I say, we'll be starting with the questions we've been sent in over in advance. So thank you to everyone who did that. Just mentioning once again, for those who've just joined us, the reason we're not having a Meet the DTB session this month is because there's an election underway, so we didn't think it would be appropriate for Don's Trust candidates, board candidates, to talk about themselves for an hour. Whether that would give them more chance of getting your vote or put you off, I don't know, but either way. So it's Meet the FCB. With regards to the election, voting is open until I think it's 11:59 p.m. on December the 5th. See the Don's Trust website, thedonstrust.org, for details about how you can vote if you're a member. Right, I think that's enough blathering from me. I think we've got quite a few people in. So thank you for joining us, and I'm going to pass you over to Joe Palmer and Ivor Heller. Enjoy the session. Thank you. Over to you guys.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I hope everybody's well on this a wonderful Monday evening on the end of November. It's been a busy couple of weeks for all of us, and a busy life for Joe and everybody on the board. So you know, it's time that we answer some questions for you guys. And you know, the rules have been explained, so I'm going to go straight in and start off. I'm going to tell you who sent in the question, and you know, the questions that are for Joe I'll read out and he'll answer. The ones that are for me I'll read out and I'll answer. It's fairly simple, really. So the first two questions come from Phil Moody. And the first one is, Joe, how does your CEO role here compare to previous roles at other clubs? What are the positives and the difficulties of being a fan-owned club for you?
Well, I mean, I don't they differ hugely, really. I mean, it's a challenging job all the time, and there's a lot of responsibility. Obviously, with football clubs, they're multiple businesses in one, and I'm by my nature, I guess I'm a bit of a jack of all trades, and you kind of need to be, because you've got to think about catering, you've got to think about accounts, you've got to think about marketing, commercial, sports science, all those elements. So it's always challenging, and you do rely on obviously having experts in each of those areas. So it's really a coordination job. In terms of the Fans Own Club, I don't think certainly no, it's not any more of a challenge. It's really interesting. I think actually the last year I've really seen how amazing it can be, and actually how it's a real advert for fan ownership amongst clubs, because I think we've really proved as a group, how we've pulled together and got through a very difficult period. So that's been really exciting for me to see, and that's something that's very different than obviously just going back to one owner and asking them to have to bail the club out. This is what makes fan ownership so strong and so great. So it's a real privilege, if I'm honest. So I'm looking forward to still yet furthermore, and there's a few questions that will come on a bit later, and obviously that's where it will get really interesting. I mean they're always a challenge, and when you're dealing with one individual, that can be challenging, and particularly if you don't see eye to eye. So here it's very much a democratic process, so in some ways it's actually a lot easier. It's a great challenge.
Jolly good. So what is the club's number 2? What is the club's current involvement in the ladies setup, and will the club look to increase any current involvement?
Yeah, absolutely we will. So we've had this discussion over the last few months with the DTB and within the FCB about our approach. Certainly our approach to the FCB is that we think the only way to go is to go for a one club mentality with it all. There are things to iron out, and obviously we were hoping to have progressed things, but obviously one of the head of the ladies hasn't been too well of late, so we've not managed to progress that. But as soon as he's back up to speed in health, that we can push on with those changes. But absolutely, yes, we do. In my view, you either do it full 100% or you don't do it at all. I think if you just do it as an add-on, it really doesn't work. So yeah, very much. We want that to be part of it, and it's the way this club should be. And absolutely, that is the direction of travel that we want to go with that.
Okay, thank you, Joe. The next one is from Callum Watson. He's asked just 8 questions here from Callum. So hope you're doing all right, Callum, and we wish you well, obviously. Callum, first one, has there been any progress on getting a main sponsor for the new stadium? Well, by main sponsor, I'm sure you mean naming rights. And the truth of it is that you couldn't have been trying to work in a harder space than trying to sell naming rights for a stadium during COVID. We had a deal that was very close to the line just before COVID. That got taken away. We've had a couple of other people on the hook and close since. But I think that it's fair to say that we are in a negotiation at the moment that is looking very promising. It's not signed on the bottom line yet, but it is very, very promising. And I don't think we can say much more than that, Joe, can we really? It's just it is going forward. And
yeah, we've got to be careful with it. But yeah. We're in a good place at the moment. Yeah.
Number 2, in the future, will we be looking to have our own training ground, academy-based community hub in Merton? That's for you, Joe.
I would love that. Absolutely. Of course we would. It'd be fantastic to have that. I mean, it obviously is something that we'd like to move towards to improve the way the training ground works, the way our academy works and what it can offer. Obviously having a facility like that would enable our academy to rise to a higher level category. Yes, is the short answer to that. You know, and we've sort of had a look at various sites around Merton, and a lot of people do email us in and say, what about this place? What about that? This location? You know, I think it's one step at a time. I think let's get the stadium into a really comfortable place, and then you know, let's move on from there. But again, you know, it's always part of the development of any club. You know, you've got your home, you've got your stadium, and then where else can you improve? How can you? Everything's about trying to improve your infrastructure to give you a better setup. It helps you attract better players. It helps you develop better players. So of course we would want to do that. So if any of you do have some ideas of locations or any thoughts on that, we're more than happy to receive those. So do let us know.
Okay. Number 3, what can you tell us about the current status of the mediation with MK?
So where we're at, obviously, you know, we've been in mediation with them via the EFL, and for whatever, well, you know the reasons why. Obviously, they had no leadership there for some time, had no chairman or chief executive, and then obviously we got into this year and the situation with COVID, so things did not progress from that point of view. However, since the start of the season, we've you know understood that it's still something we've absolutely got to try and solve and move forward with. And over the last month or so, we've managed to reignite that mediation process, and we hope that we'll be able to give an update to fans well in advance of the match on the 30th of January. So it is still going.
Right. And number 4. So many areas of the club still seem to be underfunded. Are there any plans in place to address this?
Well, where do you start? I mean, it depends on the scale of what, you know, underfunding. I'm not quite sure totally what areas we're referring to there. So, yeah, difficult for me to comment, but we could always do with, you know, better equipment, you know, more staff. It's an eternal problem for a club of our size, you know, getting that balance right. It's quite difficult. But yeah, I mean, I think the new stadium obviously has its own changes the landscape. It changes the departments and what they look like and what areas become more important, because the stadium gives us new opportunities. So it's basically ensuring that those new areas where there is opportunity for considerable growth, income generation, improving our engagement with fans, we want to be able to do that. So we are looking at sort of how the structure and how our existing structure in Kings Meadow translates to the new one, and obviously we will need to change it slightly to make it more efficient for the new stadium. So yeah, once we get in and we have the new structure working and have our operating procedures underway, then we can really start to take a step back and understand, you know, where we can make improvements.
Okay. Number 5. This is something I think I'll answer this, and then you can chip in as well, Joe. Number 5. Are we still planning a showcase match at Plough Lane to celebrate the opening of the new stadium when fans are allowed back in? I think that yeah, I think we all know that we were planning a spectacular, and we wanted to do something completely out there, and we would have got really good opponents for that. The problem is knowing when we can go to market with this and what we can actually offer to make it really the spectacular that it should be. But I think that the will is there from us to do something, and we will try our best. But actually, you know, if you turn around and say, is the start of July, is everyone going to be allowed in stadiums by the start of July? My gut feel is they will, but we can't prove it and we don't know. So, you know, trying to organise a spectacular without really knowing when we can put it on properly and safely is going to be difficult. But rest assured, if we get half a chance, we'd love to do that. I think that's a fair answer.
Oh, absolutely. No, absolutely we do. And you know, it's a real shame that we weren't able to do that. As I've said many times, you know, that first game with everyone there was something that I think we were all relishing, and it was something that was driving us all on to get the stadium finished. So we want to have that, selfishly, I want to have that moment too, I want to see the big game with everybody there, with everybody's faces are lit with joy. So, we will absolutely look to do that if possible. Like I said, once we get a clearer picture of how things are going with COVID, we'll know how possible that's going to be. But absolutely, it's on our radar, and absolutely, it's something we want to do.
Okay. Question 6. Will there be an opportunity for all former Wimbledon FC and AFC Wimbledon players to attend a game and come onto the pitch to be applauded by the fans? The answer to that is simply yes. Although it would need to be done over a long period of time, because if you invited everyone, there wouldn't be enough seats for who we wanted. And we've always operated this policy of bringing old players back and turning them into guests of honour, making a fuss of them, and so on. It's something we would absolutely want to carry on and do without a shadow of a doubt. Question 7 is: has the proposed film by John Green telling the story of AFC Wimbledon been scrapped? The truth is, it has for now. It was because Disney bought Fox, and Fox had the rights to the film, and Disney didn't take it any further, so they let all the rights drop. So as of this moment, I would say John Green is not making that film, but I think if you give him half a chance, he will do. So let's watch this space. And then number 8, this is one for Joe. How long is the EFL agreement on the salary cap, and will it change in the coming seasons?
Good question. We haven't been given a definitive period for how long that will go for, although we know that it will certainly be in place for at least 2, if not 3 seasons. After that, we don't know how the landscape will lie. There's a lot of clubs that would like to see it remain. There's also a lot of clubs that wouldn't. What is clear is that it was absolutely critical in terms of pressing a reset button on the league and getting everyone back into a more affordable framework. So, it's a positive thing. We all need it, particularly after this year. All we know is for the next 2 or 3 seasons that we will have those rules in place. Beyond that, we don't know at the moment.
Okay, the next one is from Connor Daly, and he has asked a couple of questions we're going to put into one. First of all, Joe, what coping mechanism do you find most useful in managing the stress of being a CEO? And secondly, and I think you can answer the second one first, actually, because it's all part of the same question, really. Which is more stressful, free diving for black pearls in the South Islands or watching the Dons on match days? I think we know the answer, don't we?
That's quite an easy one. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was pretty stressful the other night, actually. Yeah, that was stressful. Obviously it is very different, but obviously free diving does have its stresses. When you're diving down at sort of 30 meters, and you don't have any oxygen, it can get a bit stressful, particularly when you're on your way up and you're not quite sure how close you are to the surface and you're really running out of air. It does get a little bit stressful, but that's part of the coping mechanism, is that you have to lower your body, your heart rate. It's like a meditation. So you have to, you can't panic. The moment you panic, if you're underwater without oxygen, is game over. So it's a mental thing. You've got to convince yourself that you're absolutely fine. And that's fairly much the same with the CEO role as well. So, no, I mean, my secret is probably sleeping. Sleeping is a thing. If I wasn't able to sleep at night, that would be the bit that I would struggle with. Having a good night's sleep is critical, and I know that my wife doesn't sleep very well at all through the night, and it's not easy. So I know there's a lot of people suffer from that as well, but I'm very, very lucky and fortunate that I don't, and I think that's been a really critical thing for me, that I can just sort of set my mind away from it all for that period when I'm asleep, and then as soon as I wake up, then they come rushing back again. But yeah, I'd say that's probably my main thing, really.
Okay, the next question is from Ray Armfield. Is Joe Pigott out of contract at the end of the season? If so, will the club offer him a new deal soon so he doesn't walk away for free like Taylor, Elliott and Akinfenwa did?
No, I mean, I'm not going to, obviously I'm not going to talk about individual players and what the plans are for them. But I absolutely get your point. You know, we do not want to have players who are, walking away from the club for free. I think it's something that as a club, we probably haven't monetised our players, like a lot of other clubs have done over the years. It's certainly something that I want to address and make sure that we're getting those contracts done in time. It's always about a timing issue. But I mean, at the same token, it's also about the player themselves. Then sometimes you can want a player to stay as much as possible, but if the player wants to go, or in most cases has an offer that you simply can't match, there's not a lot you can do. So that's why timing's so key, to try and get an offer into a player before they get approached by another team. But obviously, when you've got agents involved, it's tricky because they're always looking for a better deal quite often. So it's certainly nothing deliberate, and we absolutely don't want to lose a good players. So yeah.
Just to add my very quick 2 pence on that, I can guarantee you that we made good offers to the players that have been listed there, and there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that there are times that like Aaron Ramsey on for nothing. You give a player a contract, if they decide to run it down, and we can't afford to match their wages, we're going to lose them for nothing. It is part and parcel of what we do, and it's not done on purpose. And it really is nobody's fault, that's for sure. So, next question. This is from Chris Stewart. Evening, Chris. Hope you're all well. The WimbledonHeritage.co.uk site, holding everything from our official website from our refoundation in 2002 up to 2012, has been offline since early October. What is being done to fix this, and when will it be sorted?
So, I have spoken to Chris Mapley about that one. The email is incredibly long. As anyone who knows Chris, that's fairly standard. What effectively the issue, in a nutshell, is that basically the SQL database and server has not been supported from day one. And the retrofit to retrofit the patching and services will be pretty challenging. So I think we're not sure that the previous, the actual previous site can be retrieved. Having had dialogue with the hosting company, it seems like there's a bit of a coding issue. However, all the data is archived. It is all retrievable. So it looks like there's a bit of work to do from Chris there, but certainly all the information that is there is safe. It is in files that can be retrieved, we just need to move it. Well, it's going to basically we can't just effectively transfer it simply. It has to be done manually, unfortunately. So it is going to take a little bit of time to do that. So it doesn't look like it's quite a simple solution, unfortunately. With aging servers, like I said, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but in data and digital terms, it's an eternity. It's something that we're looking to do. The key thing is getting that data and putting it onto a new platform, but obviously it's not going to happen overnight, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Now there's some questions for me from Kerry Mander. There's quite a bit of background information that's been written here, but I'm going to go straight to the questions which refer back to here. So, what was the procurement process for securing sponsorship? Well, it's not really a procurement process, to be honest. We go out to as many people as we can ourselves. We use our various and very wide network to speak to as many people as possible. We have sent our commercial brochure out to about 7,500 companies, all within that you could throw around Wandsworth, Merton surrounding area via the various Chamber of Commerce. And then we have used a network of agencies that would go to all the national and international brands, actually, to get it out there that we're looking for various deals and so on. I can assure you it's gone out very, very widely indeed. We did have an outside agency work on our naming rights pitch to start with, and that went to every single, there was a book produced, it went to every single major company in the UK. It was not successful, it has to be said, but certainly everybody did receive that approach, rightly or wrongly. And we do an awful lot, online these days, whereas we will be sending out the brochures to people. It's much easier to communicate like that, and we will use as many agencies and outside people as we can. However, there is. I've been asked about transparency for that process. It is a very simple process. You wouldn't publish who you've approached and who you haven't approached. I don't think that would be right on a commercial basis. But we are totally and utterly open to anyone that wants to come and have a chat with me about it personally, and I'll take them through everything. There's absolutely no problem with that whatsoever. Never has been. So that was that. And then there was did we consult outside of our in-house team to ensure we were going to achieve a broader reach, and did we benchmark our offering? Well, the answer is yes. We are benchmarked via the Football League, where we come out very well indeed. Our shirt sponsorship, which is the sponsorship in British football, pays slightly over average. It's not massively over average, but it's over average. And considering they've been with us 18 years, and this is their 19th season, I think we're extremely lucky to have Sports Interactive. And we've benchmarked everything else, and we do extremely well for a club of our size, and that is getting stronger, which has been proved by the deals that we've actually managed to do this season. I mean, I have heard it said that it's the same old, but in point of fact, it's not. Our main stand sponsor didn't sponsor anything with us last season. They've increased their spending from what they had done previously by nearly 20 times, just to give you an idea. There are several of our other sponsors that are new, in particular Fortius, who have come on board. They're a new company that we've actually used them for a lot of our operations for players and so on, and now we've done a deal with them. We've got the Fit partnership. We've got our irons in the fire, and we are extremely thorough with that. There is no doubt about that. Certainly for the manpower and the time that we've got, we make the best of it. So I hope I've answered that okay, and I'm really happy to go one-on-one with anybody that wants more information. And then the third one, which is kind of part of some of the other as well that I've already said, is why are we not securing new or more broadly known household national branded sponsorship? Well, I think you need to look around at other clubs as well at our level and see what happens there. But the truth of it is that those big guys would not pay as much as the people that are benefiting locally as local sponsors, because we're a local football club, and therefore some of our guys are very keen to address a local market. And when there is a chance to sell nationally, and bear in mind, our top 3 sponsors at the club, none of them are actual Wimbledon fans. They're all businesses that Sports Interactive were never a Wimbledon fan, and they're a hugely national and international business. So I think we do okay on that one. But again, I'm very happy to take this offline and talk to anyone who wants to know more about how we do that and why we are where we are. But I hope that's okay for you, Kerry. But I'm sure you've got my number somewhere. The next one is from Tim Probert. What's the latest situation on stadium tours, the pub, and other plough lane facilities? It's one for you, Joe.
Yeah. So what we're looking at is it's most likely the first item that will be available, or first area that will be available for people to visit, will be the club shop. We hope fairly quickly followed by the pub, all of which could happen before any possible fans coming back into the stadium. So we hope to have people back in the stadium in some form or another. The tours one is really, really interesting. We are looking at this at the moment. I'd absolutely love to be able to get that cranked up as soon as possible, so that you can all come and see it, and get a good view of everything. So we are looking at that. It's obviously going to have COVID protocols still that will be set upon it. So we'll hope to come out with some more news in relation to that sooner rather than later. Will it be before Christmas? It would be tight. Potentially the shop could be. I think tours will be tight. Certainly the pub won't be. But fairly shortly after that, I would think, early New Year, I really, it's on my radar that I really want us to be able to start having tours taking place. So do watch this space.
Yeah, and then it's got, which is quite similar. I think you might have answered some of this, but I'll read it anyway. Will fans be able to visit the stadium in some capacity this side of Christmas, even if not attend matches, and if not before Christmas, when?
Yeah, I think I just mentioned that.
Yeah, you did. So yeah, okay, cool. Thank you, Tim. Two similar questions. This is got here from Gareth Hayward and Tom Gavin. Now it's confirmed London is in Tier 2. When will Plough Lane be ready to host fans?
Okay, I think there's quite a few of those questions sort of generally in that area. So obviously I'll give an update. Obviously I put the statement out the other day, explaining the situation. As I said, it all came upon us out of the blue. Nobody within the EFL had a clue that the government was going to suddenly set the date when we could have fans back in the stadium, and as a result, we, at that point when that was announced, there were only 3 clubs in the whole of the country who had the required license to be able to play, games in front of limited capacity crowds that have gone through that process, because they were part of the test pilot program that started just before this second lockdown, where they were looking at 1,000 fans in the stadium. And then obviously the second lockdown happened and that was all scrapped. So at that point there was only 3 clubs. I think a few more have managed to rush to get theirs in as soon as possible, but obviously they were in a very different position to us. We still have bits of the stadium to finish, and obviously we've only just really completed our behind closed doors protocols. Pleased to say last night's match went really smoothly in relation to those, so there isn't really much more adjustments, just a couple of minor bits and pieces. So that then gives us the platform now to be able to develop the crowds protocols, because effectively a lot of that is based on behind closed doors, particularly from the point of view of staff and how the players interact. Then we just have to add the layer of crowds and the protocols on top of that. We have been looking at the seating calculations. We started that a couple of weeks ago, and we are also working with the architects at the moment on the concourse calculations. So there's a lot of calculations to do in terms of capacities and flows of people in and out of concourses and entrance gates, and which exit gates they have to use. So there's still quite a lot of logistical planning that needs to go into that. And obviously the challenge for us is, obviously we've got Christmas coming up and we have to rely a lot on the council, all different areas of council, whether that's transport, whether that's police, whatever that might be. There's a lot of, we have to work with the safety advisory group to pull that protocol together and to get it in a place where everyone's comfortable. Just to give you a bit of background of how long that takes, I mean, the behind closed doors protocol took about 2 months of development, and our main policies document. So if you forget that COVID was taking place, every club has to create and develop its operating procedures for the stadium. And there's about 24 policies that have to be written, everything from the stewarding plan through to the fire evacuation plans, communications plans, traffic plans. It's endless. And that whole process took the best part of 9 to 10 months worth of work. So they're not things that happen very quickly. And we are trying to fast track this as quickly as we can. Obviously we really do want fans back in the stadium. We really want that. So, we will move as quickly as we can over this period. But we have to be realistic about what we can achieve. As I said, we're looking in January. What point in January is not particularly clear, but it's more likely to be mid-January at the earliest. But could fall back beyond that if we have any problems. That's where we're working at the moment. And like I said, there's still so much to do in terms of, we have to completely reconfigure the ticketing platform, which is a large piece of work. We have to go through a lot of logistical planning. So we have to rearrange parts in the stadium, have to be barried bits off, signage with one-way systems everywhere. So there's a heck of a lot of work to do for it. We have at least 6 of us. There's a team of 6 of us that are working on that. So we will try. And obviously, as Ian says, we ideally don't want the first game to be the one on the 3rd of January. We will. We're trying our best.
Okay, right. Thank you, Joe. Brilliant answer. Now, the next few questions are all lead into each other, a bit twisty and turny, so bear with us. So the first bit really is from Tracy Sleet and Anthony Circuit, and Tom Gavin has asked a very similar question. So here we go. Please, could you confirm the numbers that are in each priority stage for when we return with restricted capacity? How do you see that being broken down? And will there be a ballot for priority 2 holders? Wow. That's the start. So, there's more to come.
I'm sure this is what everyone wants to know. So, I mean, we'll come out. We're planning, as I mentioned the other day, we're planning to come out with an announcement, just making it clear how the process works. I mean, obviously, we set out the priority system, when sales took place anyway. But it is quite interesting, the numbers that we're seeing at the moment. So, effectively, what we have is we have about 4,000 people that have, in some way or another, either bought a debenture, a non-refundable season ticket, and also people that have taken up that have their allocated seat. So across there, you have 4,000. Now, out of those who have bought non-refundable season tickets, it is just at the moment of people who have paid up for their non-refundable season tickets. It is literally just over that 2,000 mark. So we will obviously have debentures and non-refundable season ticket holders in that first priority group, and then it's the non-refundable season ticket holders. At the moment, it looks like pretty much everyone that has a non-refundable season ticket and has paid would get in, simply because we know that you're never going to get 100% attendance either. So that's where we are at the moment. I can't guarantee it, and I can't guarantee that more people won't come and to pay up their non-refundable season tickets in the meantime that haven't yet. It's going to be pretty close on that one. But if, like I said, with people that if we are over that 2,000, then we would look to certainly look to do some form of rota if indeed it needed to be.
And if I could just moving on, because Mark Jones has asked quite a similar question, and I just want to check that we catch everything here. Can the club confirm that the staged groups and the numbers within them for firstly a test event and secondly restricted attendance? So you just answered the restricted attendance matches.
Yeah.
But for the test event, you don't know how it work.
No, we need to do a test event of 50%. So the first event would be about 1,000 people, and the discussion is about whether that's a separate test event. That's something completely different. It could be 1,000 people coming in for a training game, or an under-18s game, or a ladies' game, or it could be one of our home matches. Could indeed be at 1,000 before we can go up to 2,000. If indeed we pass that test event. So yeah, we need to do 1,000 before we can crank up to the 2,000. And obviously, you know, by that stage, we might be in tier 1, or indeed we might be in tier 3. We don't know. You know, a lot can happen over Christmas. Obviously, there's that situation where, you know, families are getting together and we go into a third lockdown, which we hope doesn't happen. We just don't know at that point. Things are happening so fluidly and so quickly at the moment.
Okay, so the next part of the question, this is several fold, but how many NRSTs and debenture holders do we have? That's the first bit. You got the exact number?
So it's around it's around 1,000 each. So these are people that have paid so far. There were more that reserved that haven't paid yet, but yeah, there was around
1,000 of each. And how many debenture holders without NRSTs? Do we know?
Without NRSTs. That's a good question. I'm not sure the definite number on that one, but it's got to be around the 1,000 mark.
And then there's a lot you've got to remember here, I guess. And how many NRST holders with no debenture?
Well, that's what I said earlier. Yeah, so it's 1,000. It's effectively
1,000.
Almost like 1,000. Yeah.
Okay. Are hospitality ticket holders in the same priority group as non-hospitality ticket holders for limited attendance matches?
So the hospitality is treated the same way. So if they're a debenture holder that's got a season ticket, then they're in that same group, that same priority group.
Right. So there you go, Mark. The next one is from Davalon Hitch. He asks, are there any plans to name the stands at Plough Lane after ex-players or managers, for example, the Dave Bassett West Stand? And I will answer this one. The truth of it is that we have to sell the sponsorship for the stands, Davalon, and we have done that for 3 of them, and there is another one in the pipeline. So those stands won't be, but we are planning on what you had a very good word for it earlier, Joe. What was the word you used? What are we using? A heritage thing to?
No, honours.
Yes. So there will be things named after players, and there'll be a method of bringing that to everybody, and to make sure that it's all fair and above board. And I'm sure people know we're going to vote on a couple of things.
Yeah. So I can add to that one. So myself and Luke Mckenzie on the Donald Trust board are starting that to sort of build the framework of that. What's possible to be named? You know, who might be on that list? And then I think the idea is that we would come out and consult on those elements and see what you guys think.
The other bit which I can answer quickly, because we have to keep moving, there's so many other questions to ask. So also, will the main entrance have the club badge, and will it be visible from the main road? Simple answer, yes. It'll be lit up.
Yes.
Fantastic. Can't wait.
Yeah, it's still in planning at the moment. It should be, in fact, any day now. I'm hoping that will come back. But yeah, it will be a light box type logo on the front of the stadium, which will stand very proud.
Okay, we're going into rapid fire now, Joe. All right, so we are now the last 2 pre-asked questions, and they are similar questions before we go into this. So it's rapid fire now. This one's from Edward Barron and Mark Penfold. Why has there been nothing about Dougie leaving on the Wimbledon website? Yeah, Stuart Douglas, that means. And the same, Mark Penfold also asked the same about Vaughan Ryan.
As I said earlier, unfortunately, we can't answer every single question, and particularly these ones for confidentiality reasons. Having discussed those with our HR manager, unfortunately.
Right, there we are. That answers that. And now we are going on to the, as I say, the rapid fire Q&A as best we can, and we're going to go from the top. And now I hope I get this right. This is from Laurent Gibot. I hope I got that right, Lauren. If not, you can write and tell me I didn't. Bear in mind that we've not read through these questions. No, not those 2. Daniel Brett and John Graham. Right, okay. I might have just made a quick mistake there, so bear with me. What have I done? Oh, right. Let me read the first question out of the new questions, and I'll go back. Quick fire round starter for 10. No conferring. Given the purpose increase in vice presidents, which suite or room will the vice presidents be using when the government allow attendance? Best answer that straight away.
Yeah, they'll be in a directors. We have a directors box on the second floor where we would receive away directors.
So where will the after match, man of the match, and fun that goes with that be done at Plough Lane?
Good question. We have been batting that one around. What we are absolutely doing is we want to we're looking to film the man of the match so that it can be shown on every single screen throughout the stadium, so that no one misses it wherever they are stood. But yeah, we're currently sort of going between 2 or 3 different locations where we think would be the best place where the most fans can enjoy it. We know it's such a key element of what we had at Kings Meadow, and it absolutely will be keeping that. It's just trying to make it work logistically, where we can put a stage and make it work. So we are looking at that, and it definitely will happen. But where at the moment we're still trying to figure out.
Okay. The rest of your questions have been answered, I believe, Laurent.
Been answered, yeah.
Again, yeah. If you want to come back to us on anything, you can. And now what's happened here? Right, anonymous attendee. Oh, hang on, no, I've got one here that I missed out on that list earlier. John Graham asked a question for Joe. Recently, I've seen online mention of a ground share with a rugby club. What can you tell us about that and what it could mean?
Well, it's interesting. We've had a couple of approaches, from various other sporting organisations. Naturally, with a nice new stadium and a new ground with a hybrid pitch, it's going to attract attention. I think the view is that we will obviously look at the opportunity. Certainly, initially look at it. Is it commercially viable? Will it really help further the club? And then obviously there'll be we need to come to the fans to ask them whether they're okay with sharing the ground. So that will be the process. We vet anything that comes in first, make a decision whether it's commercially an opportunity that we want to take to the fans, and then ask the fans.
Okay. The other question that for some reason my attachment went weird there for a while. So Daniel Brett asked, this is for Joe and for Ivor. As one of the founding 4, now we have league football and have returned to Plough Lane. What is the next challenge? So I won't steal Joe's thunder because he's got an answer to this. But I will say that.
Yeah, no.
Go on, Joe.
This is what I was saying earlier. Really, I mean, this is the big question. Obviously we've always met and achieved the objectives. One is to restart the club. One to get back into the league, and then to get back to Wimbledon. And we've achieved those, and where now? Ultimately, that's for you guys to decide. There are a lot of opinions. And I will say, going back to the question about the differences in fan ownership, I've never seen a club where there is a more diverse range of opinions on where the club should be. Right from the Premier League, some people even saying back to non-league. There is a vast array of opinions, which is obviously quite strange because a lot of clubs very much always have the same sort of goal. They all want to get to the Premier League. But I mean, ultimately, there is a lot of stuff in the middle. And that's something for you guys to determine about how ambitious you want to be as a club, and also how you get there. It's not just a case of, we have an ambitious to be in this league. What sort of club do we want to be that when we do get there? And that's something that I'm really, really keen on, and I've had a lot of discussions with the Dons Trust about this and the next strategic steps and answering the big questions. And I'm really keen for you guys to tell me where you want me to take you. That's my task. I have my own opinion of certainly where I think the club can get to, and where it would be comfortable. But ultimately, it's for you guys to determine that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that process.
Good. Well, mine will be a slightly quicker answer than that. It'll be, because this is the quick fire round, Joe. My answer.
Sorry, it's one that's very, this one's very close to me, close to my heart. This one.
I know, I get it. For me, we smashed through every glass ceiling that everyone said that we wouldn't be able to smash through. So for me, it is, I am absolutely desperate to carry on smashing through those glass ceilings and proving everybody just what fan ownership can achieve and how far we can go. And nothing gives me greater pleasure than proving people wrong, particularly people around the football world that said, you can't do this and you won't do this. And we've proved them all wrong so far. And I'm looking forward to doing more of that. And where that leads us and where it takes us, who knows? But it could be anywhere, couldn't it? So that's my thing on that. So moving quickly on, we have someone called Anonymous Attendee. So it's, what volunteering opportunities will there be at Plough Lane? When do you envisage recruitment and training will begin?
So this is something I haven't caught up on yet. I'm obviously, with everything going on at the moment, it's been on the back burner. But I've spoken to Rick Thomas a few times about when we can crack on with the volunteering. We obviously got a new range of opportunities available. It's something I very much want to still have, even more so. So we will be looking to develop that. But like I said, just find the time at the moment to sit down with Rick and go through this process. Okay.
Now we're moving on to Niall Cooper, who's asked a couple of questions. Are there ethical guidelines in place when we are looking for sponsors? Yes, no discussion with the Dons Trust that went through a whole process. It feels like a couple of years ago, but it might even have been longer than that. And several things have been answered since, and we are very careful who we take on board as sponsors. I think you'll find most of them check out pretty well at the moment. Your second question was, if you were doing a 10-second pitch to a potentially large brand, what would it be? And a big part of it, I will say, would be the answer that I gave to the question about what we are, what next for the club. I believe that asking people if they want to be involved in the greatest story in football is quite captivating for people, because that's what we believe and what I believe, and you can sell that to an awful lot of people.
Yeah.
And then the next one really is for Joe. If you could hire 3 experts in any field to help the club, what 3 fields would it be?
Oh, that is a good one. Yeah, I did reflect on that one a little bit more. I mean, I have some thoughts. I think it's an interesting one. One thing that we are certainly looking to do is going back to the volunteering question. I actually had a meeting a few months back with a couple of our fans, because what I'm keen to do is to develop the volunteer base further. And what I want to do is not just obviously the match day volunteers. I want to get more skill sets. So, lawyers, more HR, more designers, more, like professional services volunteers, and to reignite that whole volunteer program. I think, I don't want this to die and fade away. It's what the foundation of the club were built on. It's so superb. And absolutely, I want to bring more people. I know within the fan base, we have such a large skill set. So many individuals I've met who come from really, strong backgrounds in their field. And I ultimately, the key thing I want to do is to be able to tap into them. And I want to be able to create a structure and system to be able to do that. So again, something that I just, with the stadium, I've not been able to get to everything, but I really do, want to move that on, because I know there's so many more people that want to help, and I'd love to have your help. So, absolutely.
Great. Okay, we've got a few minutes to do the rest of this. Is a bit of fun. This one, and I'm answering it first, Joe. I will do it quickly. You might go into more detail, but it's like, which actors would Joe and Ivor want to play themselves if the John Green film plans were rebooted? I'm answering this first because we need some levity. It's obvious for me. There's only one short ass left in Hollywood, really. So it's Tom Cruise for me. And if it, and if Tom Cruise isn't available, 100% Brad Pitt. Right, that's done you up, Joe. Follow that. Go on.
I'm not even answering that one.
Come on, Joe.
I'll leave that to other people.
No, you've got to answer it, seriously, mate. Come on. Who's it going to be? Nah.
I'll let someone could type something now, and I'll see what I think.
Anyone that says DeVito, and I just saw it flash up on the screen, come and see me in my office.
It's more than one, mate.
Leave it. DeVito's too old to play me. He's not handsome enough either, by the way. But anyway, we've got to rattle through these last few questions. From Ian Hidden, what effect did the salary cap actually have on us, Joe? You've got a 1 minute answer, maximum.
A really positive one. No, it's great because it really, like I said, it resets. It puts us in the same ballpark as everybody else, and makes, you know, the budget that we were hoping for in the new stadium very manageable.
Good. Philip Moody, I was going to ask your question, but I've just gone off it because you said 100% DeVito, so therefore you're over, mate. No,
He's blacklisted. Joe Pesci. Now you're talking.
I could live with. If he was a bit younger, I could live with Joe Pesci. All right. Hey, you think I'm a funny guy? Do I amuse you? Anyway, Philip Moody. I've got no idea how that came across on screen, by the way, but Philip Moody. There's a serious question here. Can I please ask regarding the Cedars investment? My family invested a certain amount in which we were not worried about splitting for extra perks. On the plaques we have been offered, why can we not put a couple of names like myself and my wife, as the investment was from both of us? I'm being told it can only be my name. It will still be within the 25 characters that has been offered.
Yeah, so obviously that was always the case when we started the Cedars campaign. It was always the case that it had to be individual names per perk, and it's just the way we've done it. I think there was a concern that, you know, you get lots of large groups putting all kinds of messages onto certain plaques, and we wanted to kind of have some level of identity and responsibility on what was going on each of those plaques, and the only way to do that was by having an individual name, and that's, you know, still where we are at the moment, unfortunately.
Okay, sorry, I've just lost where I was. Okay, great. So the next one is from Colin Suregold. What is the playing budget this season? More importantly, where did we sit in the budget league table in League One this season?
And this season, I have no idea. We haven't had that yet. We haven't had that back yet.
Okay, and yeah, okay, fair enough. That's all you're getting there, I'm afraid. Right, okay. This is from Stuart Deacons. Evening, Stu. Following on from the question by Ray about Joe Pigott, have we thought about a strategy for players under contract? I remember Arsenal had a policy of not allowing any player to go into their final year of the contract and would put them for sale if they refused an extension to their contract in the summer. I think that we did change things for the youngsters, didn't we? 18 months or something.
Yeah, we focused a lot of this. Yeah, we've definitely changed. We changed the strategy a lot for the younger players. We absolutely don't want to be losing them at the point where they become scholars or their first year pros. So we've now got a calendar in place, in fact, of where we're, you know, at the points when we need to offer those contracts, because we really don't want to lose them. Obviously, Arsenal's is slightly different. They've got a lot more money to play around with, and it's a bit easier for them to start offering contracts a lot earlier. For us, you know, that you've always got to be careful. You know, if you get players with suddenly become more injury prone or have a long-term injury, you know, that's not sort of money we can afford to you know, let's sit an injured player. So, you know, we are looking to try and offer them as early as we can. Like I said, most of the times where we have issues is when, you know, players had a better offer, you know, a higher offer from somewhere, and they ultimately want to go.
Okay, thank you. Now we're going into overtime now, but I think we're okay for a few more minutes, aren't we, Joe? But we are going to try and get through as many as we can. Any that we don't get, you're more than welcome if they're directed at me or directed at Joe. If you write to us, I promise you we will answer the questions that you had up. We're going to do our best. Please don't put any more questions up now, because we'll draw the line at 8:30. Okay, so here we go. does the club have a marketing plan or strategy in place to attract new fans? This is from Alex Ramsden, sorry, into our new shiny stadium, so we have every chance of reaching full capacity consistently for when all fans are allowed back in. And can you please share with us what this involves exactly? Can you also confirm how many non-refundable season tickets we've sold to date for this season? We've already done the last bit. So I'm going to...
Absolutely. I mean, there's a whole range of stuff that we're going to look to do. One of the main platforms is that we're going to introduce a stadium card, and the idea of a stadium card is that it's for casual supporters who might come to, 3, 4, 5 games a season. They can't justify obviously buying a season ticket, but they're still they want to feel that they're part of the system, and they obviously get a discount on their match day ticket. It works very effectively. I've used it before at other clubs, and I know when it's administered properly, it can be very effective. But what it means is that you can reach out to a very large number of people, a huge pool of potential attendees, and then you're able to work with them based on loyalty programs and that type of thing. So that's going to become one of the main mechanisms. Is that for £30 you'll be able to have a membership card, effectively a membership card or a stadium card that gets you preferential prices into a match day. But it gives us an understanding of what our marketing base looks like, and then we can start to work with them properly. So that's one of the core mechanisms that we'll be utilising. But obviously the foundation is obviously doing a lot of work, and we're looking to work with them closely about how they do that. Same with DLAG as well. We've had conversations with them about how they can support the marketing push as well, because of the great work they're doing. So yeah, the key thing is being joined up, and that's what we want to be.
And just to put it out there, from my opinion, what DLAG done for us at the club through this whole crisis is the best possible marketing we could ever have had. You could have had an advert on television 10 times a night on every channel. Wouldn't have done as much for us as DLAG have done by showing us to be such a great bunch of people. It's incredible, really fantastic. All the sponsors, the local councillors, everybody that I meet with regularly and speak to regularly, don't stop going on about it, and that is an amazing achievement. So fantastic shout out to DLAG. Right, so next one, Alan Johnson. I'm going to answer this one, Joe, if that's okay. Is it feasible to reach a championship whilst maintaining fan ownership? Well, Alan, they said that we wouldn't be able to run a football club. They said we wouldn't be able to get to the EFL, and they said we were completely balmy to think about getting to Plough Lane. We've done every single bit of that. So in comparison, I believe we 100% will reach the championship. I can't tell you when it's going to be, but I believe that we absolutely will. So the answer to that for me is an absolute yes. The next one, Luke Mckenzie. Now, I believe, Luke, you already know the answer to this. So just to put it out there, what's happening with the wall behind the south stand? Over to you, Joe.
Yeah, so about a year ago, when we obviously saw that this giant wall was appearing, we had the thought that let's project something up on there. We could put a scoreboard projected on there, and it would look quite fantastic. It obviously got put back on the back burner, but it's amazing the number of other people who've now said to me, "Oh, we should project something on there. We should project something on there." So I have now asked our neighbours whether they would object to that, and they've said that they wouldn't. So we are now in the process of just doing some planning with the council just to see whether we can do that. And we hope that we'll be able to, have a lovely little PR stunt where we've got the largest scoreboard in the world. So that's something that we're trying to do, and that'll be a lot of fun.
Okay. Quick fire again, because we really got we got 1, 2, 3. I think that's it. No, we've got 5 more questions, and we're going to do them really quick now. Will the club be displaying the motto "We are Wimbledon" on any of the walls of the stadium?
Yes.
There you go. Good answer. This is from Peter Trigg. Sorry, I didn't call out your name, whoever that was. I'm sorry. This is from Peter Trigg. Do you always get clear direction from the DTB? And how could the interaction between the FCB and the DTB be improved? I think that's one for an email.
No. Ultimately, I think it goes back to the question about strategy. I think if we all had, we're all working from a very clear strategy for the next step, then it becomes quite simple everything becomes very clear, because we all understand the objective for why we're doing the things we're doing, why we're working in the direction we're working. So for me, the critical thing is having that strategy and an objective in place. Where is our ultimate goal? And I think then that gives clarity between any organisation internally of where the direction that everyone's working.
Good. Right. This is from Andy Ramsden. Congrats, Ivor and Joe, on the club sponsorship deals from various sources. How much total annual income will it give? From Andy, and I think that it's about $500,000, Joe, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah, about that. Yeah,
it's about $500,000, Andy. All right. So that's pretty good.
And like I said, that's certainly not where the maximum that it can get to. Obviously, COVID has impacted on that somewhat, but we're pretty pleased with where that's got to, given where we are with COVID.
Thank you, Peter Trigg. Why not give people the opportunity to buy an extra brick to solve the multiple name issue?
Well, obviously the Cedars round as original Perks round has closed, so it's possible. Well, I need to look at that one. Yeah. Okay.
And then lastly, we've got Edward Barron. I'm going to answer this one. Should Wigo be in the New Year honours list as Marcus Rashford was honoured? And the answer to that is, I think that if Craig Wellstead and if Cormac van der Hoosen, and Wigo were all together, the three of them who actually started DLAG, and then all the numerous volunteers that have done so much for that organisation, then the answer would be yes. But we need to get everybody in, because the other guys were, those three founders really have worked their fingers to a bone and all need recognising, in my opinion. So well done to everybody from DLAG, and thank you for that very nice question, Edward. That's a good one to finish on. No more questions.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Well done. You've got through all the questions, all the advanced questions, and all the live questions, I think, guys. So thank you very much. Thank you for taking the time, Joe and Ivor.
Absolute pleasure.
And thank you to Hannah, who's helped with all the technology and making it happen behind the scenes and everything. But I hope everyone's found that very interesting. Got a lot of content there.
Sorry, I can't help laughing every time I see the twins mentioned as Schwarzenegger and DeVito.
Which one's Danny and which one's Arnold? I think there's going to be some arguing about that. The session may run on a bit. Once again, thank you, Joe. Thank you, Ivor. Thank you, Hannah, for helping out. We hope everyone found it interesting. As ever, do send us your feedback. As I said, this session came as a result of feedback from a previous Meet the Dons Trust Board session. Do feel free to send us your suggestions and so forth. We're on contact@thedonstrust.org. Don't forget, the Dons Trust elections are currently taking place. I can't tell you who to vote for, but I can encourage you to vote. Please do check the Dons Trust website for manifestos, and 9 Years YouTube channel for the hustings from 11 very strong candidates. I'm looking forward to working with at least 5 of them next year. Do follow us on Twitter at The Dons Trust. And until the next time, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you once again to Joe and Ivor.
Yeah, can I just say one thing, Graham? Can I just say one thing? We're not going to see everybody face to face. We don't often get to talk to this many people these days. But I would just like to say to everybody, please stay safe, stay patient. We'll all be going to football again soon. We'll all be together. We're going to have that massive party. And I know that means the world to Joe and I, and for everybody on all the boards, that we want to get football back to you guys as quickly as is humanly possible. And I'm going to be the first one to say it. I wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas. There you go. That's it.
That was so good until the end bit. There's still no
sorry, mate.
Brilliant.
Not even December.
Well said. Yeah. Thanks very much. Yeah. Good night, everyone. Good night. Till then.
Cheers.
Good night. Thank you.
See you later.